We're live.
We're live.
We're
this
live.
is the first thing.
This is happening, Simon. It's so exciting.
It's ridiculous how two guys like us can bring this together so quickly, so excitedly.
Right.
And just to get into the swing of things.
It also helps when my company pays for some of the equipment, so I'll throw it to Tenacra for that.
I was going to say thank you for Tenacra. Thank you for Platform for giving us the room and stuff like that. The
beautiful
venue,
room.
one of the hippest places in Calgary, I think.
Right.
In terms of space, the way it looks, the architecture outside.
Right.
It's like
an office building surrounded by a parking lot. Kind of throws me off at first, but hey, no.
It's perfect.
Yeah, right.
It's just perfect.
Right.
And even CP Rail don't really get involved when they're trucking whatever they're sending past the backyard. It doesn't get too.
How does that?
crazy.
It doesn't really. It doesn't
really.
transfer. Okay, that's
Not
nice.
really.
That's nice.
Not really.
Well, our office is in
Sounds good.
Inglewood, and we're not modern like this, so sound insulation was not a forethought in 1910s. So we hear every train as it stops. And
Everything.
Every train. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
So I've got this, and then my home office is perfect because it's basement, soundproofed
Perfect.
for other sounds. Because obviously you and I have got a passion for music, so got that
Excellent.
running all the time.
Perfect. Love it.
Which is exactly what we need.
Yeah,
So,
perfect. Excellent. So, how's your weekend, Simon?
Weekend was it was busy.
Yeah. What'd you get
there
up
was
to?
still a lot of things to do. Got out on the mountain bike because it's still warm.
Right. Are you an all year mountain biker?
So I ride all year, but in the winter, obviously inside, different activities. Try to do climbing, get to another Calgary activity, which is Beeline, get into Beeline for the BMX park, indoor BMX park.
Excellent.
And then in the summer, then it's a mixture. In fact, I've just made the switch to mountain biking. So
Oh, nice. So were you a BMXer back in your day?
It was all the stuff that I wasn't allowed to do that I'm doing now.
Oh, fair
as
enough.
As I hit the ripe old age of 50.
Excellent.
It was So all mum and dad were like, yeah, BMXing, no, that's not really going to take off.
Not going to happen, yeah.
You're going to have a race bike because we can buy one of those big enough for you to grow into.
Right.
And then that purchase just stuck, right? So I literally just grew into the bike and then started racing the thing and all of that kind of stuff. So which kind of introduces everything. But what about you? What about your weekend?
Well, to answer the BMX thing, I did some BMXing back in the 80s when I lived in England. So that was, Was I good at it? No. Did I fall a lot? Yes. Am I surprised I can still walk and haven't broken my neck? Yes. It was definitely fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
So, my weekend was okay. I went to an acoustic open mic on Friday to play and sing because I'm a musician. And then one on Saturday with an electric guitar. And I decided to try to do some of my acoustic songs with a backing band and electric guitar. It was kind of a hit and a miss, a swing and a miss. Yeah. I could see, prior to me, the other acts had people on the dance floor. I came up and the dance floor was empty. So Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" does not translate well to an electric song at a bar. Just a warning. People love it on acoustic. It's great.
I think a couple of days ago we did. We found karaoke on the Telus box.
No kidding. That's a thing.
It's a thing. It's
like
there.
that.
It's on demand,
Oh,
and so obviously, my youngest and I were singing Neil Diamond and
Perfect.
Sweet Caroline at the
Of course, with all the accompanying buzz.
completely off tune.
Nice. Love it.
Full hammer, right?
As long as the passion's there, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Who cares?
That's what auto-tune's for.
Right.
You get the passion in there and then the auto-tune.
That's what brought us here, isn't it?
Exactly.
Isn't that what we're called? Chat with the Yes Men?
Oh my God, this is getting auto-tuned. That's happening.
You right?
Yeah, right.
Am I sounding too peaky?
Yeah, right. I want to sound like Cher. When she believes in love, because I believe in it too.
There's a lot of belief there.
Right. Yeah. So that was about it for me. Just a failed attempt at a electric open mic.
Nice.
Well,
what do you do? I guess we need to introduce ourselves. So.
Right. So
Go.
Me first.
Go for it.
Hi.
From the beginning.
All right. I was born in 1974. Okay, that's a bit too far in the beginning, but I'm Calgary born and raised. I have lived in a few other places, but mostly Calgary my entire life. A little stint in England, my preteens. My name is Jason Wiles. I'm the co-host of this podcast, and I'm currently a chief collaboration architect at TEEMA. So I like to help people collaborate, and business process automation is my jam. I just love making stuff automated. Love it.
What about the early years then? What brought you to be curious about collaboration then?
Right. So what it was, I worked for a company in town. I'll just name drop. What the heck? Bantrell. And I kind of got myself put on a web team, and the web team also did SharePoint at the same time. So that was my first introduction to the SharePoint world. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it was just I was asked to brand the SharePoint environment at the time, and I loved it. But then, of course, other stuff starts bleeding in, like interest on what SharePoint can do. And
yes.
And then over the years, how can I make it better? Now with things like Power Automate, oh my God,
I just takes it away.
Yeah, I could talk to APIs and do crazy things. I love it. Yeah, I have my home automated as well. I'm an automation guy, so when I come home, the lights turn on for me, and I used to have it where it would play music.
I'd forgotten you'd shared that bit. I know you'd kind of gone the full smart home.
Yeah. I unfortunately annoyed my kids that every single time I came home, it would have like the music "Welcome Back, Kotter" playing on my HomePod. So I kind of let that one go. But
I'm just like, what's the problem?
Yeah, right. I don't see the problem, right? Yeah. So that's it. And yourself, Simon, how did you end up in front of me in the podcast?
Well, born a year before you, so 73. Mm-hmm. In England, so I did spend my first 40 years in the UK,
nice.
Or as Mud Island, as one of my other friends call it. But I guess the Canada, because a lot of people say, well, why Canada? How did Canada fit? And quite honestly, because as a kid growing up, I knew that I had ancestors and previous family members that had come across to Canada.
Okay.
They'd settled in Saskatchewan, Paradise Hill, which is kind of level with Edmonton, but in other side of the border.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Just past Lloydminster kind of thing?
Ish. Yeah.
Somewhere in Saskatchewan.
Somewhere in Saskatchewan. I know it's up north of the province.
Gotcha.
I know that it's ranch. It's primarily horses. Mm-hmm. It's still running. I haven't made contact with the family members there because we're talking like 80, 90 years ago now. Right. The original cast are probably past, no longer there. So it might be a little bit weird if I turn up, but Canada was always there.
Nice.
And then, I've kind of, on a drive home from work one evening, was chatting to my wife, and my wife kind of said, "Hey, what's your day been like?" And it hadn't been a great day at all, like not even remotely a good day. And I got home and I said, "Do you know what? I'm going to look at Canada."
Yeah.
So the conversation was like, "Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to change and all of this kind of stuff?"
Right.
So I'm like, "I'm going to have another look at Canada," and this would have been circa 2011, 2012.
Okay. Wonderful.
And so I looked at it, did all the tests for make sure that we were relevant to immigration and all of this kind of stuff. We had enough points, so we applied, and we started that process in 2012, and finally got to Canada on a work visa actually, because there was a lot of conversation in between that I'm missing in the story. But 2014 was when we got here.
Okay.
Or I got here and came straight to Calgary via Halifax. I was originally employed by a business that wanted me to go to Halifax to build out the business plan to start a recruitment office in Calgary. Mm-hmm. And I got to Calgary just as everything was going wrong.
Perfect. I
love
it.
We had the collapse in the oil price. It was like 12 months after the flood.
Fantastic time frame. I remember it so fondly.
Right. Yeah. The oil price. I'm like, if there is any kind of divine out there, then I'm like, I must be on a Ouija board right now, just being poked.
Fantastic, right? So you missed the money fights of Calgary, is that?
Yes, I missed bottle service by a few months. Let's put it that way.
It was a fun time, Simon. I'm not going to lie. Like there's lots of pizza and Spalumbos. That's another throw out. But lots of Spalumbos for lunch. Yeah. Calgary wasn't lacking for Spalumbo lunches. Let's put that way.
Right. Yeah. So I hear. We're still trying. We're still living in that ghost, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I haven't really felt the come back, and I've been waiting for it because it's imminently about to come back every 2 seconds. Not to put down Calgary, but I think just like everything in life, you have huge waves and troughs, and at some point it's going to even out. And Calgary went through its waves and troughs of that's you had the huge boom of the 70s, and then the bust of the early 80s, which ultimately led to me going to England.
Well, I heard about that. So somebody told me oil was down to like $10 a barrel or something. Yeah. You couldn't even give it away or whatever.
It was crazy. And houses, mortgage rates were like 18 or 20, or I have no idea. I was too young at the time, but people just walk away from houses.
I know it was bad. Just left the keys.
Right. So we I think we're starting to look at the new normal. But
the thing with Calgary is that I guess my lesson from settling in a city that was on the downward spiral was that we found, and I'm talking about my family and I, so myself, my wife, 2 kids. There's still a way to survive, and if there's a way to survive, then there's a way to thrive. In my mind, because in the downward time, things get a little bit more real. Conversation is a little bit more real. Yep. So what's left behind are the people that truly want to be here.
Right.
They're not the consumers of an environment. They're not a consumer of a relationship.
Right.
They're not a, hey, Jace, pleased to meet you. What can you do for me type.
No, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Because there aren't any options. It's like you're in the trenches together and, let's...
This is my home.
Yes.
I love other places in the world and would love to have the disposable income to live in multiple places in the world. But no matter what, Christmas needs to be in Calgary for me. Christmas needs to be at home. Calgary's my home.
Big topic of conversation in our house, right? Because I'm kind of like, let's go somewhere different for Christmas, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Calgary's home. It's 100% home. I have not been back to the UK other than an airport in the last 10 years.
Really?
Not been back. Okay. And I need to go back to see family members and stuff like that, but I have no inkling, no desire to go back. Like, the UK was great. Yeah. Thank you very much for what you did for the first part of my life.
Yeah. And for me, it's the same thing. I don't really want to live there, even though I am trying. Hey, there's some construction going on here. That's perfect timing. So
I was going to say, can you bang a little bit hard?
Yeah, right.
Please.
Bloody hell, Simon. Anyway, sorry, I won't let that sidetrack me. But yeah. I mean, I've explained it to a lot of people, like when they ask what it's like to live in England, because I have an experience of both, as you have now.
Yep.
How loud is that? Is it just the mic so hot?
It's a bit of a tap.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. This is our first podcast, and you're going to hear some noise. We'll find better ways of doing the future. But one thing I try and tell people when they ask what it's like living between Canada and England, I kind of put it, the best is that the luxury of space is not there.
No.
The idea of having a house that's not... You live in a place where your walls aren't actually attached to your neighbors. You have to make some pretty good coin over there to have a house that's not attached to your neighbor. So and that kind of throws off a lot of people here that don't. Well, I guess now the reality of Calgary nowadays, they're starting to see it, right?
Well, so, and actually, my wife looked at the our house that we had in the UK. Mm-hmm. So obviously, I'm talking in sterling in terms of currency. But we purchased our first house at £64,000.
Okay.
When we came to Canada, we sold it for $185.
Bloody hell. Wow.
The person that bought it then sold it a few years later for something like $215.
Jesus.
And then it's just hit the market again for $260 or something like that.
And what's the reason for those kind of jumps?
Market. Is it? Yeah. And we lived in a village, so it was kind of, I guess, what North America see as the idyllic village location.
Yeah.
Kids walked to school.
Right.
It was a self-contained village, so we had obviously the village store for groceries, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of industry in the village as well, so if you were fortunate to work there, then you could walk to work as well.
Perfect, yeah.
6 pubs, Jace,
stop it.
So if you did 2 pints, that's a 12-pint walk around the village.
Oh, I love me a good pub.
So it was a nice place. It was a nice place to be. And if you were into scuba diving or commercial diving, it was also the.
So you're on the seaside, were you then?
No, that's the thing. It was a disused granite quarry.
No kidding.
And the reason why it closed was they hit a spring. So local legend in the village was that when the last truck drove out of the quarry, it was chased by the rising water.
Kidding. Oh, that's awesome.
And that's
like a Goonies kind of movie thing, right? Like
it's wicked. It's wonderful. It's nice there, you know. But anyways, so village location, prices kind of went up.
Yeah.
But there.
Well, that's across the UK though. It's not.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We've got mum and dad over right now, and it's not. It's not a great place to be. In fact, somebody that I know downtown Calgary has just been back from the UK, and first thing that he said to me when we grabbed a coffee was, no going back to the UK. Sorry.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not the place to be.
Well, I'm assuming, and of course, not that I want to make this specific episode political, but I'm sure that there's advantages and disadvantages to Brexit as well, and I'm just wondering if that might have led to some things being a bit more difficult there, or not.
I think it's difficult, but I think it was needed because this society, and again to echo what you just said, we don't need to get into this particular rabbit warren for our first podcast, but the UK needs to learn to build industry and stand on its own 2 feet again.
Fair enough.
As opposed to reaching out its hand for foreign investment, which is what it had done before. And because I'd been in the recruitment industry since '97, I'd kind of got a ringside seat to that happening, right?
Fair enough, yeah. Well, so many companies disappearing.
Well, decline in manufacturing, declining in engineering, the decline of anything that was built. So all of that kind of declining, and then the uprising of logistics, because we became an island of stuff coming into our ports, our commercial ports, and then it became okay. Well, let's get this distributed around Europe. If it was coming in from the Asia Pacific regions and the Americas. And then it was the foreign investment that I'm talking about was obviously the automotive assembly plants, right? So Honda, BMW, Toyota, all of those kind of things, and that's kind of where they took the market. Triumph Motorcycles in my hometown of Hinckley.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So just kind of histrionics. That was the town that I grew up in, and that was all hosiery and knitwear, completely gone. So by the time I hit a 20-year-old, all of the industry had gone out of the town.
Right. So that's been happening for decades. It was not that I know a lot. I didn't live there very long, but my favorite band, Sheffield, came from Sheffield, Def Leppard. Well, not my favorite band now, but they were at the time anyway.
Yep, Sheffield.
And I remember reading interviews as a kid that's the iron mills or
Sheffield
what have you.
Steel.
Yeah, right. It just dried up
overnight. Overnight.
And just people out of work, and that's
it's a big shopping mall now.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Perfect.
Meadowhall. It's such a shame because there was, and it was kind of ruined by. I don't know. There's a lot of comparisons to what we're seeing just around the world, right? So it's
right.
If you're
like Detroit kind of thing.
I guess kind of like that. Well, the world found different ways of doing stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
And people got used to kind of like, well, I don't really want to go to that area of town because it's a little bit,
seedier.
Well, there's odours that come out of factories, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
And
we've all heard of Brooks, Alberta.
Alberta. So if you're an abattoir or anything like that, or you're running hosiery, then you've usually got a dye house next to it.
Right.
So all the dyes and the tanning that you need to make the fabric and things like that. Yep. Bleaching of a wool and a thread and stuff like that. There's an odour to it, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So, but fun, like holy smoke. Yeah. So I one of my first jobs, I was a barman, and I remember, and I was telling this story to my daughter the other day, in the afternoon. So this is Friday afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon. We doubled the staff behind the bar.
Oh wow.
because well, we're back to the factory working, right? So big klaxon goes off, and when you hear the bell, you've probably got about 30. You've got about 30 minutes, if that. Before all of a sudden at 2:45 on a Friday afternoon, you're like 4 or 5 deep at the bar. Because it's straight out of the factory, straight to the bar. Right. Half a lager and lime.
It gives me, just gives me good feels. I don't think I ever had anything like that because I worked in office.
Such fun. Such fun.
Just the idea of
such
it. It's
fun. But as we'll get into these podcasts, I think one of the titles that I've written down is to talk about that kind of skill set that we're never likely to see again in industry or in our world of managed services and recruitment. It's interesting, the decline of those and stuff like that.
Well, and decentralization of the world generally, with like even downtown Calgary was struggling for space for ages before COVID hit. Now, we have, my goodness, that's why my aunt, it was just in Wales, my aunt's town, all the small little places that used to be nothing are now going up in price because people realize they can work from anywhere. They don't have to work from a downtown anymore, and that's I think that's what's happened with Calgary as well, right? It's.
Although I can see it coming back.
I hope so.
I think it's coming back.
I feel like a big boy in an office tower.
Well, and it's the thing about Calgary is like the Calgary spread, which we talk about a lot. And for everybody listening to this, I don't know whether you've done the drive, Jace, but 60 minutes, like it's a 60-minute drive around the perimeter of Calgary right now.
It's pretty impressive.
That's a big city.
Yeah. They just opened up that new leg of the ring road too. I got to try that out. That's what I'm doing this weekend.
driving around Stony, just do it.
Just because I can.
Just because, right? A perfect reason.
Exactly.
What are you doing that for? Because I can.
Because I can.
That is it.
Yeah.
But it also begs the question then of it also gives us an inner city problem. Mm-hmm. Because people at 5 o'clock, I don't know if you've hung around at past 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and gone to the usual places where you and I grab a coffee or you and I go grab a lunch. Mm-hmm. Nobody there.
Yeah.
Ghost town. You walk in, pick your table.
Yeah, ghost town. That's sad.
It's very sad.
I don't like that at all.
No, because there's the... and I think that you're seeing that's not a Calgary problem. I think that is a problem across a lot of other. It's definitely across Canada issue.
Yeah.
North America, definitely across Europe, because all of these towns were built on industry. So if the industry disappears, then why do I need to be in town nowadays?
No, exactly.
And especially the good idea that we have, which is to build a self-contained neighbourhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like for both of us, we've got everything we need within a 2, 3, 4 minute walk away from our house. We don't need downtown.
No, exactly. Fair enough. Yeah.
Which is the thing. So tell me about. I'm talking. So the IT services world, you fell into that. Just switching gears a little bit there for our listeners.
Sure.
So you kind of fell into that with SharePoint, fell in love with it, and then how did you? I'm curious to how you expanded yourself, your career to become owner of Tanakra and all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, definitely. I mean, Tanakra was founded by me and my partner, Scott Jackson. And ultimately it was just a continuation. We both worked at a place together, and I was kind of known-ish in small circles. I was very good at branding SharePoint and making SharePoint not look like SharePoint and making custom web parts back in the old classic UI days. Yep. And so that's what the company was founded on. That's what we did for the first couple of years. But during that time, Microsoft decided to pull the rug from under me and decided to go onto a modern interface with SharePoint. And although you can still use the classic nowadays, you don't want to really deal with it. You want to use the modern interface. It's faster, snappier. It does great things. And you don't want to drag your clients down using older technology because you're comfortable with the older technology, right? So so I had to pivot, and so I had a year there where I didn't know what the hell I was doing, really. I didn't know what to do because my bread and butter was SharePoint branding, and it was gone. And they didn't give you a lot of choices for SharePoint branding in the modern UI. So I had to look for other things. Kind of stumbled into Power Automate is of all the things, I guess just clicking on that little button at the top left of your screen with Microsoft 365 and go, oh, what tools are here? Yeah. Oh, how I do this one. So I kind of fell into the Power Automate. And I just love the idea of having like the building, the brick,
the creativity of it all, the configuration of it all.
Yeah.
Because it is pretty cool. Well, it's an empowering technology, isn't it? Because you don't necessarily need lines and lines of code.
No, exactly. And I am trying to, I have extensive experience with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but not so much in some of the front-end languages yet with like React and so on and so forth, Angular. So I'm trying to get into those as well so I can extend it further than just Power Automate. So I don't want to just be locked into Power Automate, even though I do love it. So kind of pushed to reinvent yourself then? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was my mid-40s, and it's time to figure out what I'm going to do. I need to be useful in my own company. So, right. Apart from being really charismatic and stuff like that.
And both of us having the face for radio, is that what you're saying?
That too, yeah. I'm happier as a workhorse. I prefer to be billable than not. So I needed to find something where I could be billable.
Such a cool topic.
Yeah.
Such a cool topic, because that's always intrigued me in terms of how, and I think it's something that you get as you get more tenured in a career or tenured in a direction and all that kind of thing. I think it's not looked at enough.
No.
I don't think companies understand it enough. I don't think leadership fully understand that. But it's interesting to hear that, because it becomes more and more of a topic and we're talking individual topics, right? In terms of like, holy smokes, I've been doing this for such a long time. How do I keep myself on the boil? How do I keep myself at the front end of being useful? Right. Because if I lose all of that, then am I losing my purpose? Right.
Especially in IT, because it can change on you fast, depending on whims. Like,
well, we're not. So whatever we read this morning at 8 o'clock when we were getting ourselves ready to get into downtown is already obsolete.
Yeah, exactly.
We're already behind it. So if we're reading it at 2 o'clock this afternoon, then nice job, you're 6 hours behind the curve.
Yeah, exactly.
And the development in IT is usually the stuff that's done before it's even released. Like even at release date, you and I both know it's already
gone.
It's already gone.
It's already gone.
Yeah. So just wave goodbye to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's it is interesting. Like I find myself I think because I've been through lots of waves and troughs in the city and what people are looking for technology wise. I found that my SharePoint branding, the rug was pulled because I specialized so far down a rabbit hole. But luckily, I still had a certain amount of general knowledge in technology, so I was able to back up and go into other things. So it's kind of that edge. You have to be a generalist, but being a generalist doesn't pay much. Specialization pays more, but if you specialize in the wrong technology, that might disappear one day. You always have to.
Such a conversation, and I think this is, and just to give again context to our podcast, we're gonna take that on
definitely,
because I think
that'd be fun.
It is the reinvention. What's relevant? What do I do? How do I keep myself relevant for a long period of time? Because they're quite openly and candidly, if you look at my bookshelf, it's all about people that are that have had to reinvent themselves. Yeah. So there's obviously sports biographies in there, explorer biographies in there, musicians, so Sting, but I'm also interested in a composer called Ludovico Einaudi, who's an Italian composer. Okay. The point is that they've been around for decades, and they are known as the authority in their subject. But the key thing in the story is that they reinvent themselves all the time to keep their purpose. Yeah. And that at some point it pivots then from a job to being a consultant, and you're known for that. Yeah. And even if it is conceptual thought, it's still a value because people can come then and say, "Hey, Jason, what do you just right? Yeah. What do you think?" Yeah. And you can fill a whiteboard, which I know is both of our favourite activities.
Oh my God,
give me.
I can put rooms asleep with SharePoint content types. God.
I don't even need. Just give me a green, red, and a black whiteboard marker, and let's go.
Oh my goodness, right? Oh,
right? Yeah. Just. I'm not even going to play tic tac toe. We're just straight into detail.
Right? Yep. Oh, I hear you.
So we're going to. There's a lot of content there.
Definitely.
But yeah, for our podcast, should we tell people what we're going to do with these podcasts?
Yes, please.
So let's talk about why we called ourselves Chat with the Yes Men.
Please.
A deliberate irony is that because we were in the service industry. That's right, folks. I didn't stutter. It's we're in the managed service industry, the recruitment industry. The biggest mistake that we see these days is that we think somehow we're in the sales industry, and it's wrong. Yeah. That's not to say there isn't a component of sales, but the selling aspect comes after service, because we're serving clients. We don't exist without clients and a relevant service. Now, to get that to that relevant service means that we are saying yes. So we're talking to the yes men, because everybody out there thinks, oh, it's services, so let's get the yes men in. Yeah. Ironically, we say no. Yeah. And I know that both of us have built a career by saying no more often than we've said yes. So hence the chat with the yes men, because we like to bring a
fantastic
nice spin to a conversation, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then within the podcast, we want to take on the conversations that not a lot of people have. So that's the pivot, the reinvention of yourself. What happens when I get to, and I'm a 40-year-old professional? What happens when I'm a 50-year-old professional? And obviously, what happens when I'm a grad? Like, how the hell do I get into this wonderful IT world? Leaving university with great education, all this kind of stuff. Who's gonna give me that first opportunity?
Right.
To do one of my athletic heroes, Jesse Owens. All you need is one chance. Well, how the hell do you get that first chance?
No, exactly. Right.
Someone's got to open it up.
Chicken and the egg. Right?
Who's going to give me that? Who's going to give me that chance? So a lot of topics like that. So we're going to hit age, folks. We're going to talk about age. We're going to talk about services, what services means, what it is, and guess what? That doesn't come out of a book or a TEEMA Group Solutions manual, and it doesn't come out of a Tenacra manual.
That's right. Exactly.
That's all written by the clients that we work very closely with.
And Simon, will we be interviewing people as well on this podcast?
Oh man, yeah. We've got to be interviewed. We can't be interviewing ourselves all the time.
Right.
Can
yeah,
we?
exactly.
No.
After a while,
I love my Jason time, but we need some more guests.
No, I
here.
get you. Yeah. there's about 3 hours of Jason that can sound interesting, and after that, it's like, yes, I know. You play guitar,
right?
Yeah.
It's like, thanks, Simon. Yes, we know. You ride a bike. Let's move on.
Wonderful. So I'd love to get some people in from around Calgary.
Good opinion. Because opinion isn't bad, but it's more it's more to have the right kind of conversations, right? And I guess at some point these conversations will get a little bit feisty. Yeah. Which again is okay.
That'll be fun. Yeah. I have lots of mics. We can
put as many. We can. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that'd be good.
Right. And we're recording video if there's wrestling matches, whatever.
Well, that's you. Do you want to go? Do you want to go video, or do you just want to keep us audio?
We could do. Well, we could record it. We could always make that option later, or make that
I think so.
Leave as an option later.
Do you think there's a spot for us? Do you think there's a spot for the yes men in the podcasting world?
I do think so. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what else to say about it. I think there's room for everything. There's an audience for everyone. So
I think there's, and I think yes, and I think we've got good venues to do that. Yeah. Especially being at Platform, because the Platform is a centre of innovation. 1,600 incubator companies, new startups, all of that kind of thing.
Impressive. I like that. Yeah.
There's a lot of net new thinking, which is exciting to be part of.
I got to hang out here more. I like this. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All right, I'll be here more.
Bit of a side issue. So you can help me with my first problem with Platform Calgary.
Do they need some Power Automate? Because I can. Okay.
Somebody needs Power Automate. Yeah. No, they need Mango Donuts. It's like Mango Donuts. As soon as I walk through, she just looks at me and just says, "We don't have any Mango Donuts, Simon. Can you stop asking?"
Damn it. Damn it.
I need a mango donut. Just saying.
Donuts.
So if you're a guest on our podcast at some point, then yeah.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
Mango donut.
Nice.
Will go very nice indeed.
I love it. Mango donuts.
So,
is there a catchphrase now? Mango donuts.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we
can do it in a hashtag.
Yeah.
We could put it as a hashtag.
I like that hashtag.
Chat with the yes men. Yeah. Mango donut.
I like it. I'm in.
At platform.
I love it. Done.
So, conversation will be flowing. Yep. Lots of IT conversations.
Perfect. Excellent.
What does, even down to the nitty-gritty of like, hey, I guess we could do this, couldn't we? How do I build out a statement of work?
Yeah, exactly.
What could it look like? What are the implications?
I don't know. Other people in my company do that.
Well, but how do we get, and how do we find a team of folks that can actually get us to where we want to be?
Yeah.
Because IT, again, as we've said earlier on, the IT world is running at such a pace.
Mm-hmm.
We're now going into an era of VPs and technical IT directors that are confused by licensing.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking budget for a very, very brief second, which again we'll take on in greater context, but we're now dealing with those directors and those VPs where probably 2/3 of their budget has already gone in licensing, and that's before you've even got any work done.
Can't imagine.
That's before,
People have their hands out at some point going, I need some more money, please. Change management time.
And it's got to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
And whether or not you're doing whatever you're doing with your balance sheets, your OPEX, your CAPEX, all of that kind of stuff, which again is a conversation for another podcast.
Right.
But it's complex. Even outside of the IT, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because again, we're bringing it back to our world of managed services, you're immediately on the hook for cost as soon as you're implementing a net new technology now. Gone are the days where you can float a project, do a project, and then kind of go, okay, well, I'm paying from November 1st. It's like, no. Yeah. You're paying right now from today's date. Yeah. Because you mentioned the word SharePoint, you're paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
What's that? Power Automate connectors? That's a little bit more there too.
Well, and look at the AI. I'm interested to see how much comes up on my phone afterwards. It's like,
right.
You were chatting about SharePoint.
Exactly.
Let us help you.
Because ChatGPT is always listening, right? Yeah.
Well, and it's a share.
That's another good conversation as well. AI in the workforce.
AI in the workforce. Yeah. How does it work? Is it helpful? Mm-hmm. ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Which is.
I love ChatGPT so much.
I haven't got into it yet.
Oh no.
No.
Oh.
No. Yeah. But the feedback that I'm getting is that the people that perform and know they're seeing a greater productivity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm one of them. Very much so.
I can say that was the first thing, you were the first one to say. It was like, holy smokes, Simon, I can get so much work done now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
Which is kind of great.
Right. Yeah. Instead of spinning my wheels for 4 hours trying to figure out why this chunk of code's not working, I just dump it into Power Automate. Throw it into ChatGPT and it goes, you forgot a semicolon at the end of this line. Oh, of course. And that just works, right?
Right. Which is, and the only thing that I'm curious about is that we know that AI is only good until to the end of 2021 data sets.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So what's going to happen past that? Is it going to update? Right.
Yeah.
But then that comes down to if developers or configuration is done in a specifically different way, which then brings it back to how creative is the individual, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which again would be based on knowledge,
and
experience.
we're on the cusp right now. Like this is
it's only starting. Just starting.
Yeah, Microsoft's rolling out its Copilot stuff right now. Yep. So my God.
And Fabric. Have you done anything with Fabric?
A little bit of Fabric stuff, yeah. Not a lot, but yeah.
Okay, I need to see that because I don't know. I know what it is by name, but I've not seen it. Don't know what it does.
Yeah. No.
Or the value or anything like that.
Can't keep up on all of it. Yeah. Speaking of which. Yeah.
So lots of topics.
Yep.
More chats about our past, I guess.
Yeah.
What brought us here?
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of
card tricks. Oh wait.
Card tricks. You can't see those because we're not on camera, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I think it's good to share.
Yeah.
A moral compass. What brings a cold honesty to a conversation, and sometimes that's missed these days. But which we can bring that topic up. And all of that kind of fun stuff.
Fantastic. Well, Well, that's wonderful. I can't wait to record more of these with you. That's great.
It's going to be great.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Let's get some more episodes recorded and get it out.
Definitely.
Get it out to the people, the good people of Calgary.
That's right. Exactly. And if there's people from other cities listening, you can listen to. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's not just Calgary.
We'll let you.
Yeah.
We'll let them into our little world.
Yeah, why not, eh? Wonderful. Well, we're signing off, and that's Chat with Yes Man with my co-host Simon. So there we go. Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.